every Pokémon fan knows Blastoise. The shell, the cannons, the raw, unstoppable power. But here's what nobody ever told you. If Blastoise existed in the real world, it wouldn't just be powerful. It would be the single most heavily armed biological organism this planet has ever produced. And today, on PokeEarth Files, we go beneath the surface to prove it. When you were a kid, you chose your starter. Maybe you chose Charmander, maybe Bulbasaur. But a lot of you chose the one that looked like it could take on anything. Small, determined, and built different from day one. You chose Squirtle. And then you watched it evolve into something that made every other choice look wrong. Blastoise. And you had no idea just how right you were. Because when we run the real-world science on this animal, the biology, the physics, the evolutionary mechanics, what comes back isn't just impressive. It's terrifying. By the end of this episode, you will know exactly how Blastoise hunts, how those cannons actually work, and why in any real ocean on Earth, nothing would come close to challenging it. And stay until the end. Because once a year, something happens in the Northern Pacific that our research team has only ever witnessed 4 times. Something that even the scientists couldn't explain. This is Blastoise. Welcome to PokeEarth Files. Blastoise belongs to a lineage of armored aquatic reptiles that diverged from the Chelonian family, the same ancient group that produced modern sea turtles approximately 80 million years ago. While sea turtles evolved toward speed and endurance, this lineage went a different direction entirely. Size, armor, and offense. The defining feature of Blastoise's anatomy is its shell, but not in the way most people assume. Unlike a sea turtle's shell, which is fused to the spine and essentially part of the skeleton, Blastoise's shell is a separate load-bearing structure. It is composed of a keratin-calcium composite material denser than any known biological armor, roughly equivalent in hardness to reinforced concrete. It does not slow the animal down. Blastoise is a surprisingly efficient swimmer. The shell's curved geometry actually reduces drag in open water, functioning similarly to the hull of a submarine. At full speed, Blastoise reaches approximately 35 miles per hour underwater, faster than a great white shark. But the cannons are what make this animal truly singular. The twin cannons mounted on Blastoise's shoulders are not simple orifices. They are complex biological pressure systems featuring a series of muscular compression chambers that draw in water, compress it to extreme pressure, and discharge it in a focused directional jet. At full output, the water cannon generates approximately 60,000 psi of pressure. For context, an industrial water cutter used to slice through steel operates at around 55,000 psi. Blastoise can do that, with biology alone. Blastoise is what marine biologists call a habitat generalist, capable of thriving across multiple ocean environments depending on life stage and season. Juveniles beginning life as Squirtle before evolving into their intermediate stage as Wartortle prefer shallow coastal waters and reef systems. Protected, food-rich, warm. As they mature and their shell hardens fully, they migrate outward into deeper water, into open ocean, into territory nothing else dares claim. A fully mature Blastoise maintains a territory of approximately 800 square miles of open ocean, one of the largest ranges of any known aquatic predator. It marks this territory not with scent saltwater, makes that impractical, but with sound. A deep, resonant pulse emitted from a specialized chamber behind the cranium that carries for hundreds of miles through open water. Other Blastoise hear it, and they change course. The only exception to this solitary existence is breeding season, and even then the interaction is brief, precise, and on the female's terms entirely. Blastoise is an ambush predator. Despite being capable of impressive speed, it rarely chases prey. The energy cost is too high, the shell too heavy for sustained pursuit at depth. Instead, it waits. Blastoise can remain completely motionless on the ocean floor for up to 6 hours. Its metabolic rate drops to near hibernation levels. Its heart rate slows to 4 beats per minute. It becomes, for all practical purposes, part of the ocean floor. When prey enters range, the strike is instantaneous. The water cannon discharge creates a shockwave powerful enough to stun or kill large prey animals at up to 40 feet of distance. Blastoise doesn't need to bite. It doesn't need to chase. It kills with physics. A single successful hunt provides enough caloric intake to sustain Blastoise for up to 3 weeks. It does not need to hunt often. And when it does it, rarely misses. For years, Blastoise was assumed to be a purely instinct-driven predator. Big, armored, powerful, but not particularly intelligent. That assumption was wrong. Acoustic tracking data collected over 3 years of deep ocean observation revealed something that stunned the research team entirely. Blastoise learns. Over the course of repeated observation dives, the research team noticed Blastoise adjusting its hunting position based on tidal current patterns, positioning itself downstream of known prey migration routes before the prey arrived. It wasn't reacting. It was anticipating. That requires memory. Pattern recognition. Forward planning. Cognitive abilities that place Blastoise significantly above what we expected from a reptilian predator of its type. And like Charizard, which we documented in our previous episode, Blastoise exhibits teaching behavior. Adults tolerate juveniles in their territory for extended periods, not out of parental instinct alone, but actively guiding hunting technique, current reading, and territorial navigation. Knowledge passed down, generation to generation, in the deep ocean, in the dark. A civilization of one. Once a year during the winter solstice, something extraordinary happens off the coast of the northern Pacific. Every Blastoise in the region converges on a single deep water location. They do not feed. They do not fight. They breach the surface one after another in a display that marine researchers have observed only 4 times in recorded history. No one knows why. The leading theory is communication, an annual acoustic assembly where territorial boundaries are renegotiated and breeding pairs are selected through a process we don't yet understand. Whatever it is one of the most spectacular events in the natural world. And almost no one has ever seen it. There are an estimated 30 to 50 mature Blastoise remaining in the wild population. Their deep ocean habitat puts them beyond the reach of most human threats, but not all. Submarine noise pollution disrupts their acoustic communication. Deep sea trawling destroys the sediment environments they depend on for ambush hunting. Slowly, quietly, the deep is getting louder, and Blastoise patient, armored, ancient, is running out of silence. 1 in a million, in every sense of the phrase. Next episode, we surface in the jungle. Venusaur, the apex predator you never saw coming, and the most sophisticated biological weapon in the plant kingdom. Subscribe so you don't miss it. And tell me in the comments, Charizard or Blastoise? Who wins in the real world? I read every answer.